mouth of the Mississippi River is located at the head of passes in the lower Mississippi's Birdfoot Delta. From the Gulf of Mexico, most vessels use one of its two main channels, Pass Alutra from the east or Southwest Pass from the west. From Ship Island, David Farragut planned to take 18 ships and 4,000 sailors through Birdfoot and up the Mississippi River to New Orleans. Pronounced draft, this English word means the depth of water needed to float a ship. Birdfoot's passes, with their sand shoals and mud bars, were not friendly to deep draft vessels. Farragut ordered the Brooklyn up Pass Alutra to destroy the telegraph contact with New Orleans and to establish a presence at the head of passes. Problem: Brooklyn drew 17 feet and was unable to get into Pass Alutra. Aboard his flagship, USS Hartford, Farragut departed Ship Island on February 23rd to assess the situation for himself. He found lots of sand and mud. He sent Brooklyn 40 miles around Birdfoot to the Southwest Pass, but he held her off while he returned to Ship Island to meet the Pensacola and the Richmond. All four were sister ships with deep drafts. The transport steamer Mississippi, which had taken General Butler and his army to Ship Island, also had a deep draft problem. Worst of all, the USS Colorado. She needed 23 feet of water to float. On March the 12th, Colorado, Pensacola, and Mississippi were still in the Gulf, unable to cross the bar. Farragut sent them back to Ship Island to be lightened. A week later at Southwest Pass, Pensacola and Mississippi were standing off the bar waiting for the Richmond to clear. Colorado had given up. Richmond finally scraped through the mud and on March 24th steamed up the pass. Mississippi had to be careened on her side, one of her huge paddle wheels beating against the air while the other flailed in the mud, creating so much suction that she would fasten herself to the bottom. The Pensacola, a screw steamer, churned up mud with her propeller, dug her way into the bar, and stuck fast. On April 7th, a strong southerly wind forced a higher tide into the pass and lifted the Pensacola. On April the 8th, both vessels steamed up to Pilot Town to remount their guns and carriages, to reprovision, and to bring on tons of ordnance and equipment. It had taken Farragut 2 months to get his 17 ships into the deep Mississippi River. Between him and New Orleans now were Forts Jackson and St. Philip, one on each side of the river, forming a deadly gauntlet of guns and a corridor of hellfire. The citizens of New Orleans were not worried. A Times-Picayune reporter summed up the city's feelings.
Nothing that walked could get through our swamps. Nothing afloat could pass the forts.